Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening from wherever you may be listening, whatever time it may be. Justin, it is the best day of the year. It is opening day in Cincinnati. The Cincinnati Reds host one of the best pitchers in baseball as the Boston Red Sox come into town for a 3-game set Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. We have been so excited for this, even though we face Crochet. Justin, happy opening day.
Happy opening day. Nothing like starting with Garrett Crochet against a team that last year didn't hit lefties very well, but it's a new year, new team. And if you look back at when we faced them on the Chicago White Sox, I'm just saying, 5 runs
Mhm.
first inning.
Got him
If
pretty
that were to
good. Was
happen,
it 2
if
years
that were
ago?
to happen
Maybe.
today,
Was that the worst team in
uh,
baseball history? Maybe, but it's still
but
in his head.
He was still Garrett Crochet. So if we put a 5 spot up in the first inning today, would not be opposed to that.
Oh my god. If we put up a 5 spot in the first inning against Crochet today, man, I'm it's World Series for the Reds. But kinda
Yeah.
before we get into it here, make sure to like and subscribe, follow us on all the socials, be around with us for the entire season. We're gonna be doing videos all the time about this Reds team, hopefully positive videos, not talking about why we should sell players. Go ahead and comment down below. Give us your hot take for the season, whether it's the Reds, baseball in general, or about your favorite team. Would love to hear what your hot take is going into the year and kind of see how it plays out in the end. Justin, you mentioned, and we do have to talk about the Reds being one of the worst teams against left handed pitching last year. And like we've mentioned a couple times already, we get probably the unanimous second best left-handed pitcher in all of baseball, behind only Tarek Skubal. Yeah, was what, second in Cy Young last year in the American League. Looking to win a Cy Young this year. Had a 7 ERA in spring training. If we want to go off that, it is him versus Andrew Abbott, who gets his first opening day start after an incredible year last year. Obviously, probably would have been Hunter Green, but with the injury, he is obviously not starting in this. We won't see him probably until what they say July, I think, is when we're expecting him back.
Yep.
Um, Andrew Abbott gets the start. Once since 2014 to 2015, the Reds have not had an opening day starter start back-to-back years. That continues this year, as last year we had Green, and then it was 2 Green starts, but it was split by a Frankie Montas start, which is unbelievable to me.
Good old Frankie opening day Montas.
Yes. Let us talk about. We'll do some roster talk. We could talk about the lineups a little bit because we don't have a lineup yet. At noon we have the parade, and then at 4 is at 4:10, I believe, is first pitch. We'll talk about some of the pitching. Well, actually, we'll get into the pitching first because I thought this was very interesting. Game 1, obviously, we get Garrett Crochet. We've talked about that. But Game 2, old friend Sonny Gray comes back into town, making his first start as a Red Sox. And then Game 3, we get Connerly Early, who made that Game 3 start in the playoffs last year against the Yankees in that loss against Cam Schlittler. Um, Not getting Brian Bayo or new addition Ranger Suarez. That was surprising to me, especially because I get with Early you might want to go with a lefty to kind of against this lineup, but so Suarez is also a lefty, so I don't understand that. You got any thoughts on why they're not going with him?
I think there's teams that definitely do this where they'll split their rotations so that way they'll have Ranger Suarez and Bayo that are able to pitch the first games of their next series.
Yeah.
It's some teams. It's been a thing recently that some teams have done that where they've rearranged their rotation a little bit to try and get a better matchup in game one of their next series. So that could possibly be what they have going on. I don't know. I'm not exactly upset that they decided to not
Huh,
pitch him
no.
against.
No,
So
no, no. I would rather have Carly Early than either Bayo or Suarez, because I thought at first maybe it was because they wanted him as their home opener, but they go to Houston after this, so they're not home for a little bit even after that. We don't have to worry about the Red Sox too much, so we don't have to really talk about them. This is a Reds show after all. Let's talk about the Reds. Let's talk about opening day starter Andrew Abbott, coming off a career year, a 2.87 ERA. He is expected to regress this year. I mean, I think it's pretty standard that some of the underlying numbers that fit being higher than that ERA by almost a full run. Very interested to see though, after a rough spring training out of him, what he looks like today on opening day.
yeah, I mean, I don't think you're going to get the pitcher that was in spring training. He was experimenting with a cutter, and that pitch was having some damage done to it. I wouldn't expect to see too many cutters coming out of Andrew Abbott uh, today. I think it'll probably be more back to what he was doing last year with the fastball up and the sweeper down. Um, I don't know. I think spring training for pitchers is always kind of eyewash just because they are working on new pitches and stuff like that. So it'll be very interesting to see how he comes out today and what he actually puts in front of us on the mound.
I would love to see him just do what he does best. Mix in that curveball and fastball work up and down in the zone. He works the zone so well, even though he doesn't throw 99 or 100. It's really funny because you're gonna get to see two pitchers that had a lot of success last year that are complete opposites. They're both left-handed, but Crochet is the overpowering high strikeout rate, gonna throw a lot of pitches, but blow that fastball by you at 100. That incredible slider that he has and just outmatch you. And then you're going to see a guy like Andrew Abbott, who's not going to strike out very many guys tomorrow. He's going to work around the zone. He's going to kind of pinpoint his pitches. Um, Very interested to see the dynamic of that. We'll move into we have the roster now. Obviously, the opening day roster has fully been set. I think there's maybe a couple surprises, at least on my end. I'm not sure on yours. Justin, I'll kind of open it up to you. Any surprises when that final opening day roster got released?
Well, we knew there was going to be some question marks the more pitching injuries that we had going
Yes.
into camp. Uh, they bring up Jose Franco to make his major league debut. He's going to be in the bullpen, which I like that move because he was a solid starter down in AAA for us last year. So that kind of gives us some reassurance with another long relief guy in case the starter doesn't make it as far as we would want them to. Some of our other long relief guys have now been moved into the rotation
Yeah,
because of those
I was just gonna
injuries.
touch on this. The Reds kind of get handcuffed with the injuries to Nick Lodolo and Hunter Green because the two guys that you thought were going to be those long relief guys in Rhett Lauder and Brandon Williamson who were fighting for a spot in the rotation. Well, now with those two injuries, they have to be in that rotation, and so you get a guy that you need in the bullpen that was a starter who can give you length out of the bullpen if needed.
Yeah, so I think it's a good move. It's not exactly where you wanted to be coming into the year, but there's worse things that could have happened. It's good that we have the depth we have that allows us to put a fourth and fifth starter in there that we still feel comfortable in giving us a chance to win baseball games. So from the pitching side, I think it's pretty what we expected outside of the injuries. The hitting side, um, Blade not being on the opening day roster might be a surprise to some, but he didn't have a great year last year. So I think it is a smart move to have him play every day in AAA and try and prove that what we saw in spring training is actually what he's going to be this year. And with Lowe being on the roster in his spot also kind of comes into just some roster gymnastics because Blade had the option that we could use, whereas Loud does not. And I think it was pretty well stated that they wanted to keep Loud in the organization,
Yes.
and the easiest way to do that is for him to be on the opening day roster, which
Yeah.
he's a really good option pinch hitting. He's a power bat. Um, he's he's been in the big leagues a while. He's got experience. So I think all in all, people might disagree, but that probably was the correct decision coming into the year.
My issue, I think, or maybe my surprise, I don't know if it's really an issue because I think it's a toss up, is not with Nathaniel Lowe. Because I think what Nathaniel Lowe is on the bench is what we were hoping JJ Bleday would be. Kind of that pinch hit late power can kind of like that's what we wanted JJ Bleday to be. I think where my more gripe with that lineup move is with Will Benson because I would have liked to see JJ Bleday get the nod out of spring training over Will Benson because we've kind of seen Will Benson. We saw him last year with Tito. We saw him kind of in this system that we have. We've seen him for the last couple years. Like we kind of know what he is. Like he's gonna be very streaky. I don't know. I would have rather seen Blade maybe get the spot there. Bill Benson does have an option, so you could have sent him down. I think at one point here, probably soon, we're gonna see Benson go down and Blade come up. I think that's gonna happen. Um, yeah, but I don't think Blade. I was caught by surprise a little bit when I first saw that. But the more I thought about it, the more I looked at it, like I do understand it. I understand why they were doing it. Um, I don't know. I would have given the nod to Blade over Benson, but I understand why they didn't. Um,
I I would say in that regard, though, the off the field stuff you have to evaluate there too. Where Benson seems to be a really big clubhouse guy
Yeah.
and big boost for the team. So when it comes down to numbers and performance, that's going to be near similar, most likely from those two guys. I can see and understand why they would decide that they want the guy that's been in the clubhouse, been around, the guys there like him, and he's just a good overall energetic presence from the Reds team who doesn't have too many people outside of him that fill that role. So I think Blade and Benson, you could probably expect similar numbers. So when you factor in the other outside of baseball stuff, then I think that starts to make more sense.
Yeah, I think there are a couple names as well that I was a little surprised to not see. Um, like I know that we put Jose Franco in this that back end of the bullpen. He's gonna be that kind of long reliever. You know, guys get in trouble. We need some length out of the bullpen. That's who it's gonna be. There are a couple guys that I'm kind of surprised they didn't go to instead. Um, I mentioned earlier Zach Maxwell. I know that's not his forte. He is more of your one inning guy. Luis May is another name that I thought really had a chance to make this roster. He does not. He goes back to the minors. Um, is it Kyle Nichols? Nicholas? It's spelled Nicholas, but I think it's Nichols, isn't it?
I believe it's Nicholas. I
N-
thought maybe it is
Nicholas.
Nicholas. I'm not sure.
Whatever. I thought he had a chance after we made a trade for him. I don't know that it. Jose Franco was just not the name I was expecting to see, and all across Red's social media, I kind of got the consensus that this was kind of a surprise. That was not really a name that was on a lot of guys' radars. Interested to see what he does, though. I think obviously when a guy like Caleb Ferguson or Lodolo comes back, like he's gonna be the one that goes down. He's got three options in that bullpen because we don't have a ton of options in that bullpen. Of the only guys with options is Franco with three, Connor Phillips has one, and Graham Ashcraft has two. And I don't Graham Ashcraft's not going down, like unless something really terribly is going wrong. Um, the other guys, like there's not a lot of flexibility there, which I think also kind of played into um that decision because I haven't looked. What's the options? So Maxwell's got three, but that's not really his forte. Is that long relief? May's got two, and Kyle Nichols has one. So like, yeah, I can see now why they kind of made that decision to kind of get some options and some flexibility in that bullpen. And like you said, he had a good year last year. I'm interested to see how he performs up here with the big league team.
Yeah, and I think some of the other things Maxwell and May have well documented on some of their command issues, and those didn't really improve during spring training. Nicholas was in the World Baseball Classic where he did not pitch much either.
Yeah.
I believe he had one appearance in the WBC, so I don't think he was quite as ramped up as they were wanting for him to be. At least that's some of the news that's like kind of leaked out of the Reds camp is that he wasn't as ramped up and as far along as they would have liked him to be. So I think he probably is going to ramp up in AAA, and then we'll be seeing him relatively soon, just because that was a trade that we made to acquire him. And when we made that trade, it seemed like it was because we did want him to pitch for us on the big league roster. Uh, it's just that's not really how it worked out early in the spring. So I think all these moves, if the people who don't like, you kind of have like the shock reaction, but once you start to look into it a little bit, you can see like where these decisions are coming from. And that's why I believe that the roster that they've put forth is probably, with what they had available, the best one that they could have done.
Yeah.
So
I think another thing is like you traded Tyler Callahan for him, who like was a guy that the Reds seemed like they had some belief in. Like this was a guy that it felt like they were like there could be something here. That really utility guy, obviously, really tough way for him that he ended his season last year. But it was a guy that was like, hey, there might be something here, and to kind of just trade him like that. Yeah, I would hope Kyle Nicholas has something in him. Um, Chase Petty also optioned to the minors. That was another guy who could have been in that role. I think I like him though in the minors because like I want him starting games. I want to see what we've got with him. So I don't know that I want to pigeonhole him into that late relief role. He might be really good as a reliever. He probably profiles better as a reliever than a starter, but I would like to see what he has. A name that has not been brought up at all is CES, just because the first base position is loaded. You're Like, would you be surprised if we don't see him at all this year?
I would say it's definitely possible that we don't see him. It kind of his big role would be if there's an injury, would he come up? But I think he still has some things that he has to work out in his swing decisions and stuff like that. So it's mm, I would say probably injury would be his best path to coming up, unless he just absolutely tears up AAA and
Yeah,
kind of forces their
which
hand.
he seems to do. Like, that is kind of his mo there.
Yeah, but even last year in AAA, it wasn't as good as it was
Yeah,
before he got called up the first time. So I think he would have to be doing some serious damage down there and really force Nick Kroll to make a tough decision on if he gets brought up or not.
yeah,
So
agreed. All right, that's the opening day roster. I don't think there's anything too much more to talk about. The obviously the why am I? I'm in transactions here. This is not what I want. Um, obviously the pitching staff looks a little different now. It's a starting rotation that loses. Is it safe to say loses the top two? I know Abbott had a great year last year, but I would still probably put Lodolo at the second spot. Like,
I think it's viewed by a majority of people that Lodolo and Green were still the 1 and 2 on the
yeah,
rotation, even though Andrew Abbott had the better ERA last year.
you go now. We've got depth. We've talked about it all off season, and that helps a lot now because you really need it. It's a starting rotation of Abbott, Singer, Louder, Burns, and Williamson. So Abbott, who had a career year last year, Singer, who looked really good last year, two top five picks, and then a guy who's been a big league starter. Like that's fine. That's totally fine. We're not gonna see. Hopefully, we see Lodolo back soon. You just don't know with Nick Lodolo because it could be a 15-day IL thing, and then he could come back and get hurt again. So I don't even know what to think about him anymore. Hunter Green being out, I put it on the 60-day. That hurts. We'll see him. I think they said July. But yeah. All right. Enough roster talk. Let's talk lineups because like I mentioned, we don't have a lineup yet. They have not been published. There's been some talk with Tito though of talking about maybe Sal Stewart hitting fourth and Suarez hitting fifth. Um, Justin, you have we'll kind of both just give a projected lineup for for later this afternoon. Uh, that the Reds are gonna run out against Garrett Crochet.
So, I mean, I think this one, it's a bit interesting. I have Friedel leading off just because he is the leadoff guy, but that's a very tough matchup for him
Yeah.
with Crochet. I was almost tempted to put Dane Myers in the leadoff spot, which
Oh God.
I think that would cause a lot of chaos in the Reds fandom. But I think, to be honest, that's a better matchup. But I did stick with what I think Terry Francona is most likely going to do. We'll have TJ Friedel playing center field. He said that Matt McLean was going to be back in the two hole this year. So we have him playing second base, batting second, three hole. It's no real mystery there. It's going to be Elliott shortstop.
I think the
Probably
top
going to be that the entire
three
season.
are. I think the top three are safe at Friedel, McLean, Ellie, because it's not gonna be Marte because, like he said, McLean is gonna be in that spot, and he earned it all spring training. He earned the right to be back in that two hole. I think I'll go ahead and openly say that is my top three as well with Friedel, McLean, and Ellie. I just you finish yours, and then I'm gonna read off Fangraph's projected lineup for today. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and then I have Sal Stewart playing first base and batting four hole,
Yeah.
just because I believe any news coming out of Terry Francona about lineups kind of means that that's what he's going to do. So the fact that it was even floated that that was a possibility, it feels like that means that that's his decision, and he was just kind of soft launching it to us that that's what was going to happen. Um, and then we have acquisition Suarez, DHing batting fifth, which honestly, him being fifth with those guys in front of him,
Yeah.
it's not like a downgrade. Like he's in a almost a better spot than he was at four hole, just
Yeah.
because you could even more runners on base when he gets up. Uh, so then we move to left field. I have Spencer Steer out there. Um, I think he's going to bounce back and forth between left field and first base, depending on what Sal Stewart's doing. I believe he's going to start today out there. And then we have the patented Dane Myers playing right field. Uh, I think it was kind of interesting to see the talk coming out about how the coaching staff had to kind of push Marte in spring training and that kind of leads me to believe that he might start in more of a bench role until he proves himself that he is working and he is getting himself ready for the season in the right way. Um, and then no real surprise here, Tyler Stevenson behind the plate catching, batting eighth. And then the name that we're going to try and forget about offensively,
Yeah.
most likely, is Brian Hayes at third base, batting ninth.
I'll throw out kind of let me I'll react to yours. Yes, I do like that. I am kind of interested to see any chance that if Dane Myers is in this lineup, any chance he's in center field and they move Friedel to like left. I understand Friedel's been our center fielder, but like Dane Myers is a better defender and has a better arm out there.
Well, would that put Spencer Steer in right field?
So that then opens that up. Well, I mean, could Friedel play right? Has he played right?
I don't think Friedel has been documented playing right field very often,
Yeah,
but
I think it's
I don't
unlikely, but
think
there's a chance. You could
I
get
don't think
funky with this
Dane
lineup.
Myers. I don't think Dane Myers is playing center field because it's kind of been a talk where they were talking about his ability to play all three and how they want TJ Friedel being their center fielder. So I would find it hard to believe that they're going to come out on opening day and not have TJ Friedel in center
Yeah.
field.
I think another thing though that where I'm really flipping back and forth is Marte and Steer because I Steer was our most consistent hitter last year. I think it's pretty safe to say. Like he's the guy. I think it's the most consistent. You kind of know what you're going to get from him. He's been consistent for years now. And then you've got Marte who hit 2-hole in the playoffs. Like and you're kind of like, I don't know. It's really hard to leave either one of them out of this lineup. I'm gonna read you the projected lineup from Fangraphs because if this is the lineup that comes out later today, I'm gonna lose my mind. TJ Friedel leading off and playing left field. There's the first one. Matt McClain in the 2-hole playing second. In the 3-hole, Eugenio Suarez, the DH. No, not he's not hitting third. In the 4-hole, Sal Stewart playing first base. Um, in the 5-hole, Tyler Stevenson behind the plate. In the 6-hole, Dane Myers playing center field. And all the way down in the 7-hole is where we have Ellie De La Cruz hitting below Dane Myers. Um, no. if this is the lineup that comes out later today, I really need to question Tito's lineup making ability because in no world against any pitcher should Dane Myers be hitting above Ellie De La Cruz unless you're hitting Dane Myers leadoff, like you mentioned. If you want to hit him leadoff,
Yeah,
that's fine. But you can't have Ellie hitting seventh and Dane Myers hitting sixth.
I think that projection is solely based off the fact that Fangraphs factors in righty lefty splits, and Ellie will be batting from the right handed side. So I think their computer projection just sticks him down lower in the order because of him batting righty instead of lefty, which I obviously the Reds don't care about that much. So that's kind of dumb, but it does make sense why they would have it if they're using a computer model that's just basing that off of his right handed splits.
Yeah, see now I'm going back and forth. Um, because huh, I had a quite different lineup than you, but I also um like the question is just it's you've got two positions for Spencer Steer, Dane Myers, and Noel V. Marte. That's really what it comes down to. I think you kind of know, unless Tito decides to go completely crazy and not play Key Brian Hayes tomorrow and throws like Spencer Steer at third base, and then you've got Marte and Dane Myers in this lineup. I could see that. I think here's what I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna change mine a little bit because I originally had Steer on the bench and Marte and right. I think I'm gonna flip it. So I'm gonna have leading off and playing center field, TJ Friedel. In the 2-hole at second base, Matt McClain. In the 3-hole at shortstop, Ellie De La Cruz. I think that is how it is. I just I understand the Sal Stewart comments. I understand the thinking behind it. I'm going to go with what I think's going to happen and not what I would do. I think Sal Stewart will be playing first base and hitting fourth. I think the theory there is kind of you're going to have two guys that strike out a whole lot and you don't want to really hit them back to back. I think you want to have a guy like Sal Stewart who's more of a like go put the ball in play and you kind of split the 200 strikeout guys. So let's do 4 hole South Stewart. 5 hole I do have Eugenio Suarez. In the 6 hole, I'm gonna throw Spencer Steer out in left field. Is this the same lineup that you have?
You've just changed. Yeah, you've turned
I
into
think
my
I just
lineup.
changed it into your lineup.
You've talked
Um,
yourself into my lineup.
I
I
I,
like
I
it.
think I really have because so I have 6 hole being that 7 hole it's Tyler Stevenson.
Oh, okay. Well, that's flipped.
Okay, so you have Dane Myers in the 7 hole.
Yes.
I think Stevenson would go in over him. I'm gonna go Stevenson in the 7 hole catching in right field. Dane Myers as the 8 hole, and at the 9 hole, like you said, Key Brian Hayes. I'm gonna throw out a fun lineup though. I'm gonna throw one out. Yeah, you're welcome to throw one out too. Let's go. Let's go. Friedel leading off and playing center field. Top three stay the same. Friedel, McLean, Ellie. Let's then go Suarez DHing. Stewart at first. Let's go Dane Myers in left field. All right, let's think about this lineup. Okay, so we got the top four, right? Yeah, top four. Friedel, McLean, Ellie. Friedel, McLean, Ellie, Suarez, Stewart. Or we'll stay with Stewart, Suarez. Top five. We're then gonna go Steer at third. We're gonna go Stevenson behind the plate. Or we're gonna go Steer, Marte, Stevenson, Myers. And Key
You
Brian Hayes is
gotta.
not in the lineup. Because you're facing a guy like Garrett Crochet, and you kind of need all the offense you can get.
Yeah. I mean, I I think that these are the players who are going to be in the lineup. A possible but not plausible lineup. If I had to change this one, I would put Dane Myers to lead off. I would move Friedel to 9 hole. So kind of just bump Hayes and Stevenson up, and then it would be Dane Myers, McLean, Ellie, Stewart, Suarez, um, Steer, Stevenson, Hayes, Friedel. Now, I don't think that that's going to happen. It'd be an interesting lineup for Francona to come out with. And that's the thing about opening day lineups is you're probably not going to get too many wild cards. It's probably going to be about what you would expect it to be. I could see Marte playing over Myers just because he was here last year and whatever. But if you look at his early spring training compared to Myers, if you're going off of that and who has the hotter hand coming out of the spring, I think Dane Myers is going to be playing. And then it's not a bad thing to have Noelvi Marte and Nathaniel Lau on your bench. Like those are two good
Yeah.
bats that you can bring in separate situations. Uh, so I think the first lineup that I gave is probably the most likely one that we're going to see tomorrow, today.
Yeah.
But
I think
um,
the only change I would make to yours is I would hit Stevenson over Myers. Because I think because you have to think, I would be under the assumption that when Crochet comes out of the game, so does Myers. And so you see Benson, and I would rather have Stevenson hitting over Benson.
mm, I don't know.
That would be
I
my
don't
thought
know.
there.
I don't know. I just I don't know. I
Or
think
or
that
or Marte. So if they go to, I would assume if they go to a righty out of the pen, you'd see Benson over Marte, just being lefty.
yes.
Man, Noel V. Marte it's a tough spot for him to be in. He's the best righty coming off the bench at least. That's tough.
Yeah.
Or you could see a guy like Nathaniel Lowe come in, and then Marte goes out and plays the outfield. Because like
Yeah. I don't know.
who does Nathaniel Lowe hit for? It's got to be Myers, right? He's not hitting for Sal Stewart. He's not
He
hitting
could
for
hit for
Suarez.
Hayes.
But I
He
feel
could
like
hit.
you would just yeah he could
He could
hit
hit for
for
Hayes.
Hayes,
Put him at first base and move Stewart to third.
or you could throw Marte at third. Either one.
Yeah. So like he could hit for Hayes realistically, especially later game if you need offense.
Yeah, you're not gonna hit because you're not gonna hit for the top 5. You're not gonna
No,
hit for Stevenson.
you're not going to hit him for the top six. It literally would just be
Who's
Myers
your
and
6?
Hayes.
Who's your 6?
Steer.
Steer, right. Yeah, you're not gonna hit him. I don't think you'd hit him for the top. See, I have Stevenson above Myers. So let's just throw Stevenson at 7 for now. I don't think you're gonna have him hit for the top 7 guys. It's
No,
Hayes and Myers are the 2 that are gonna get hit for, and it's gonna be
correct.
like what's the Red Sox path to victory? Is it Crochet to Whitlock to Chapman?
Most
Like, that would
likely.
be
I
the
mean,
goal for them is to go get 7 out of Crochet, but I don't think he's gonna throw 7 tomorrow. You're not gonna see that on opening day, right?
not usually. Depends on what the Reds are doing.
That's true. That's true. The Reds need to work the count a little bit tomorrow. Let's see, their bullpen, Chapman, Whitlock, Slayton. That's probably who they're gonna go to. Weisert's also there. Danny Coulombe's in there. Oh, that's a really good bullpen. This bullpen is kind of disgusting. Um, wow, yeah, this is not a fun bullpen to be facing. So I think you'd probably like their dream scenario. Best way to get the win would be Crochet to Slayton to Whitlock to Chapman. So
Yeah,
lefty, righty, righty, lefty.
I would say that the Reds' plan tomorrow should be to try to get Crochet out of the game as early as possible and force as many of those
He
bullpen
can't
arms
go
to
more
come
than
out in the
5.
first game.
If he goes more than
Yeah,
5, the Reds do not win today.
you gotta you gotta get them you gotta get them out of the game and then have as many arms as possible come in, and that way you get into a couple more hurdles for the Red Sox on Saturday and Sunday. Because to be quite frank, the Reds' chances of winning opening day are nowhere near as high as they are winning the second and third game.
Oh
So I
yeah,
think
not even close.
getting getting as many arms into the game as possible today is pretty crucial for the Reds' success
So
further on in this series.
funny enough, this is not the official lineup, but this is a lineup that just came out of a guess on the Reds lineup. This one again has Myers in center field and Friedel in left. So this one is Friedel in left, McLean at second, Ellie at shortstop, Stewart at first, Suarez DHing, Steer in right, um, Stevenson catching, Myers in center, Hayes at third base. I honestly think this is maybe the lineup that we're going to see later today. I wish they would just release the lineup so we could actually talk about it. But this is being filmed quite early because I'm trying to get downtown to watch the parade. um,
Yeah.
yeah, interesting. There's a lot of different ways that Tito could go with this, and like you were kind of saying, you win today versus Crochet, you feel like you're kind of stealing a game. Like, this is a game that the Red Sox are supposed to win. You've got one of the best pitchers in baseball. You're facing a guy who's shouldn't be the opening day starter. Like, he's very good, but he's not our ace. This and I don't think it's crazy to say that the Red Sox have a better lineup than the Reds. Like, the Red Sox I think are a World Series contender this year. Like, they are really, really good. Roman Anthony, Trevor Story, Jaron Duran, Wilson Contreras, Wilbur Abreu, Caleb Durbin, Marcelo Meyer, Ceddanne Rafaela, and Carlos Narvaez. Like, that is a great lineup. You're gonna see a little bit of a weird lineup from them, I think, too, because let's see, what's the them versus a lefty? You see guys, let's see if I can pull this up of what they're gonna be doing against because they have not released their lineup either against Abbott. This is the projected is Anthony, Story, Contreras, Narvaez, Durbin, Duran. Oh Jesus, Andrew Monasterio. Oh God, I don't want to see him today. Wilbur Abreu and Ceddanne Rafaela. I would be really surprised if Wilbur Abreu is in this lineup. I don't see him playing today because he just never plays against lefties. But you never know. Opening day.
Yeah. I think the Reds just kind of are hoping to catch the Red Sox with their pants down here in the first
Yeah,
series of
let's
the
jump
year.
on him early. Come on, let's jump on him early. We haven't jumped on we have not jumped on an opening day starting pitcher early in so long. Like last year, Logan Webb it was Logan Webb last year, correct? Giants were in town. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Logan Webb just kind of put us to sleep for like 5 innings, and then we blew it. Yeah, not fun. Um, One last quick thing because I asked people to leave their comments down below of hot takes. You got a hot take for the Reds this year? Anything? Kind of off the, you want me to go first? I'll let you think.
Yeah.
All right. Hot take for the Reds. You can call it whatever you want. I've said it multiple times. You know exactly what I'm going to say. Ellie De La Cruz is going 30-50 this year. He is hitting 30 homers for the first time in his career, and the base running is coming back. He feels healthy. He is stealing 50 bases, and he is going to be in the top 10 of MVP voting by the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean that's certainly a take. It's
Book
definitely a
it.
take.
I got the LE jersey on. Book it. 30-50.
I would say my hot take is that this year's Reds team is going to be more fundamentally sound than some of the teams we've seen in the recent past. I think
Okay. This is
there's
not a hot take.
this this
I just
is a
said
pretty hot take.
30-50 out of Ellie on a guy who hit 22 homers last year and got worse offensively.
Yeah, but think about all of the mistakes the Reds have had, base running wise and other stuff with like just the fundamentals of baseball have not been on peak. It's been talked about at length. The Reds have not been fundamentally sound in baseball games in the past couple of seasons. But I think this year, second year under Tito, you're going to start to see a lot more of the small things that have cost us games in the past becoming a strong point, and hopefully we flip that one-run game stat from last year and we turn it the other way. Because if we do that, I think they will win the NL Central. So I guess there's your hot take.
Okay, so there it is. The Reds win the NL Central.
The Reds,
That's a hot take. Yeah.
if the Reds can play the fundamental baseball, which they have lacked over the past couple of years, if they can do that correctly, I think they will win the NL Central.
Wow. Okay. I think yours is hotter than mine. See, the one I thought you were gonna give me is Sal Stewart hitting 30 homers. That because you've told me that a couple of times that you think he's gonna hit 30 this year. I know before Suarez got here, you said he was gonna lead the team in homers. Because I think we're all in agreement that Eugenio Suarez is gonna lead the team in homers. Like, if he doesn't, either someone went ballistic or something went horribly wrong with Suarez. All right. Hot takes for the year. Ellie's going 30-50 out of me, and Justin says your 2026 Cincinnati Reds will win the NL Central. That is all we have for you today. Enjoy opening day, whether you're a Reds fan or a fan of any other team around baseball. Like I said, like and subscribe. Follow us on our socials. Let us know down below what your hot take is for this year. Happy opening day, and we will see you at the end of the series and next time on Let's Talk Reds. Go Reds! Thank you guys for watching this episode of Let's Talk Reds. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit like and subscribe down below. Also, leave a comment letting us know what you think we missed or points you would like to see us make in a future episode. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more just like it, click on one of the videos on your screen right now, and let's go Reds.